Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story Podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hi, this is Ivy Slater. Welcome to today's episode of Her Success Story. My guest today is Nina Marino. Nina Marino is the co-founder of Kaplan Marino law firm out of Los Angeles, California. It's a white-collar criminal defense firm. Nina's complex litigation and white-collar crime practice is national and international. She negotiates with U.S. Department of Justice, state attorney generals, district attorneys, and Interpol in her defense of individuals alleged to be involved with Medicare fraud, Foreign Corrupt Practice Act violations, and tax, cyber, and other crimes. Nina, it's a joy to have somebody of your brilliance, your interest, and truly somebody who stands out for something you're so passionate about join me today.
Thank you so much, Ivy. That's really a very flattering introduction. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you've been at this a long time. Like, what drove you to get involved in, not just criminal defense, but really specifically white collar and on a national and international level? How did that journey start?
Well, I'll let you in on a little known secret. And that is my dream growing up in high school was to be an actress. And as I got older, I realized that being an actress could very well mean I would be poor, and I didn't want to be poor. Both my parents are lawyers. They're both litigators. I come from a family of lawyers, and I always appreciated the inevitable theater that accompanies litigation and courtroom appearances, jury trials, and everything involved. So, it really wasn't a big leap for me to determine when I was in college that, I'm not going to be an actress, I'm going to be a litigator. And from pretty much day one in college, I joined the Pre-Legal Society, and I ended up chairing that organization. And I was very, very committed to always becoming a lawyer. But what I thought I would do is I thought, in line with the idea of being an actress and the glamour, I thought I would be an entertainment lawyer. And hence, I moved to Los Angeles to go to law school after graduating college, thinking I would go to law school in Los Angeles and I would be an entertainment lawyer, and it would be glamorous and fabulous, and I'd kind of be able to be my pretend kind of actress as I'm in the courtroom. But what happened is I learned that entertainment lawyers don't really go to court, and they don't really have the platform for the theater at that time in my life I was seeking. So I didn't really know what kind of lawyer I was going to be, and I feel like in a way my career was chosen for me, which happens to so many people, and which I always tell young lawyers, keep an open mind, because you never know where life's going to take you. And where it took me was a series of jobs that were criminal defense based. And that's how I got exposed to criminal defense work. And I found it exceedingly rewarding. Being able to help somebody on that kind of profound level was like nothing I had even imagined. So anyway, then I became a criminal defense attorney, and that ultimately exposed me to white collar criminal defense. And
because criminal defense has a lot of different avenues.
Yes. So I started out doing more, people would refer to it as street crime,
right?
Blue collar crime. But when I remember even my first business crime, and I thought, this is really exciting. This is much more intellectually challenging. And
that's what I was going to ask.
yeah,
Because my image or my vision here is, blue collar crime versus white collar crime. It's a little bit of black and white versus so many shades of gray.
oh, you say that so beautifully, and it's funny. That's exactly what I wrote and what appears on our website. Because yes, I do believe that. I think all criminal defense is shades of gray, but I do think business crimes is probably more so.
So it must be very interesting in the various, I do a lot of business strategy, which I find fascinating, right? I take my creative background and I approach my creative side and business, into my two sides of, I'll always say like the two sides of Ivy here. And I could see, you having that theater background, which is a part of a creative background, and looking at problems and avenues to solve something or navigate something in a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah. It's it is constantly solving a puzzle. Yeah. It is constantly figuring out a solution. And it's always with business crimes, it's always learning a new area of business. I mean, by way of example, I now have more knowledge about the cell phone industry than, pretty much anybody, because I've got the flagship cell phone unlocking case in California. And that's really what it is. Every case is a new learning experience. And that's why I really love it.
So how did, you ended up hunkering down, and it makes so much sense to, well, if I can't be on the stage or in front of the camera, I'm going to be the attorney behind the camera. And then, navigating forward, seeing that doesn't get you the theater play and finding the avenue for you. Now you've really built a brand over your years of experience, and a brand that has encompassed not just, your California, and not just, California and this, but truly international. How did you go about building that and have the vision to get there?
I'm not sure I had that vision from the beginning. Again, it really comes down to staying open and, not boxing yourself in. So about 20 years ago, and I've been practicing for more than 30 years now, about 20 years ago, I got very involved in the American Bar Association. And again, found that incredibly rewarding. And I ended up meeting lawyers from all over the country. And then ultimately I started meeting lawyers internationally. And I'd always had an affinity for international. So I studied in London during undergrad. I studied in London during law school. So I've always, give me a plane ticket, I'm gone tomorrow. So, international traveling, meeting different people is just second nature to me. And, really, when you say, how do you have an international practice? I think the better question is, or maybe the answer is, if you meet people and if they like you, then, and if they live abroad and they work abroad, now all of a sudden you have an international practice because they trust you, you become their go-to person. And that is frankly what's happened. I mean, I have lawyers all over the world that refer me cases, that I refer cases to them. These things just sort of organically grow, I think.
And, I think there's 100% I agree with you, because one of the things I speak about all the time is the value of building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not short-term relationships, it's relationships over the long, truly the duration of life that are the most fruitful relationships, because you truly get to know people, and then you gain resources and your business flourishes, but based on truly liking people and putting that time in.
You say that so well, and that is so accurate. And I tell young lawyers all the time, look, people refer business to people they like. I mean, you could meet 10 people But if you only connect with one, then, you really met one person. Um, sometimes those other nine your paths will cross again. They'll like you more than you like them. And maybe they want to do business with you and maybe you don't feel the same way, but really to have that connection with people, I agree with you. It's everything. And that is how you build, I think, any business.
I think I agree. It covers all businesses, any business and every business. So what have you seen, as far as being a woman, and I always ask this for women leaders because we have evolved. We've made an impact. We have grown in leadership, and being also, kind of I think we're in the same, I'm going to say this really tactfully. I'm going to try anyway. Same age bracket.
I think so.
Considering I was abroad in London in the early 80s as well. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Navigating a career as an attorney and then also an attorney in the criminal space. Have you seen differences in the demographics of, coming up and being respected as a woman? Was there any challenges early on? Ways that you navigated bringing yourself into your own respect and success?
So when I was a young lawyer in this world of criminal defense, there were very, very few, maybe a handful of other private practitioners like myself in the space. So, you did see public defenders that were women, you did see prosecutors that were women, but those are government jobs. And I was always in the private sector. And I remember, and I'm blonde and I remember it was hard to command respect being young, being blonde, being a woman. And I remember fervently wishing to have, you'll laugh at this, Ivy, some wrinkles, because I thought if I could just have a few wrinkles, then I would have more respect. And it's the funniest thing in the world, because now, of course, I'm ready to, have plastic surgery because I don't want the wrinkles anymore.
Now we work so hard to get rid of those wrinkles. What we want when we're young is we try to get rid of when we're older.
It's hilarious,
Whether it be wrinkles, gray hair, nor all of the above.
Absolutely. No, it was definitely challenging, but I would never say it was challenging in a bad way. I always thought it was kind of fun. I also thought that being the anomaly was always something that everyone should use to their, in the best way they can. So sometimes it's better to not be like everybody else. And you can get some play with that.
I love how you're saying this, because I was actually just writing a presentation for a few weeks from now on embracing your uniqueness in your individual brand. Because when we look across the room in a networking group, it doesn't matter what any of us look like. There's here's your attorneys and here's your insurance people and here, right? And each one of us are unique in our unique brands, and embracing it and using that as our lead and understanding how that's an asset.
Yeah.
So right. I think that is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for other lawyers who are curious about, building out a book of business, that are curious about owning your own firm, that's, Nina, you've gotten involved in so many things. What tips and strategies or advice might you share with other attorneys and other professionals coming forward in that way?
I would say if you're going to get involved in something, something that is enjoyable to you, that you expect to create relationships through, something that might further your business, take a leadership role. I talk to young lawyers all the time, and they say, well, I joined this group and I joined that group. And I said, well, that's great. But if you don't take a leadership role, then you don't have any profile in that group. So, it's more work, certainly, to lead programs. I do a lot of speaking, and I always prefer to be the moderator, to be the person in charge of running the program, because it seems to me more efficient for me. But again, like, just take a leadership role, and that's why you had mentioned some of the things I've done. I've started the women white collar subcommittee of the White Collar Crime Committee of the American Bar Association. I am one of the founders of the Los Angeles chapter of Women White Collar Defense Association. I started the criminal defense section of the Women Lawyers of Los Angeles. It's definitely a extra work in life, but I think if you're going to do something, go for it.
And I will say, out of the mouths of babes, early on, I was being positioned to speak at a large conference, and they said, "Well, do you want to do this or do you want to do this?" And I happened to be teaching my son how to drive at that same time.
Stressful time.
Stressful times. And I said, "You need to pull over. I need to take this call." And so he goes, "So what's the call about?" So I kind of explained a little bit. He's about 17 years old. And he goes, and he looked at me, he goes, "So Mom, basically it's, play big or go home, your choice." And I was like, right. And we said yes to the bigger role, the bigger responsibility, the bigger leadership.
Yeah.
Because it's truly, we have choices. And do you want to play big, and do you want to make an impact and leave that legacy?
And not everybody wants to. A lot of people are perfectly happy to, clock in at 9 and clock out at 5, and and that's great. It's just not who I am. But not everybody. Again, you just have to play to and accept and optimize whatever your unique qualities are.
I love that. So listeners, as you continue to listen to the series, as we're talking to a variety of different women leaders in the legal field, take me in as advice, know what you want and position yourself and go for it. Create those relationships that you hear me talking about on Her Success Story all the times. And I truly believe the golden ticket to success are great relationships. And take that leadership role. Play big.
Don't be afraid.
Never let fear hold you down.
Nope.
Nina, thank you for joining us here today.
Oh, Ivy, it was so my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And listeners, you know how I close this show. Take a moment. Write in the comments below, what is your biggest takeaway from listening today? If you're going to show up and listen, identify what you're taking away from listening and what the action you are being responsible to take from listening. From that takeaway, just don't listen in life, take those actions. We come into your inbox every Monday morning with great new content and speakers, as Nina is today. So hit subscribe and make it easy for yourself. Till next time.
To shine. Don't need your approval anymore, 'cause I've got mine.